Even though he was 17 at the time of the crime, they're still charging him as an adult. Here they go, up they go. And they gave a grin. It just defies everything we stand for in society. Look at this, there's a grin. We're obviously shielding the family members from this. We don't want their sorrow to be broadcast across the country. It's so unbelievable. And today, even more evidence, surveillance video of them running with those face masks on that we saw in the first cell phone videos, running from the police, trying to do a foot chase. They were caught. But the whole mask, the running, and then the conversation in the cruiser, what's the big deal? We just crashed a car. What's the big deal? Oh, we have a lot more than that. Trust me, we have a lot more than that, the cop says. I want to bring in Mark Geragos, criminal defense attorney, co-host of Reasonable Doubt podcast with Adam Carolla. Geragos, I have teenage boys, believe it or not, 16 and 18, same ages as these kids. And I thought after several weeks of the jail bars closing on these kids in adult jail and their lawyers telling them how serious this got, I thought there would be a serious chastening. And then I saw what I just saw in that courtroom. The judge sees it too, right? Does the judge have an affect? Does this do the same thing to a judge that it's doing to me?
To some degree, and as much as you might counsel your client that pretend like you're in church or you're serious or, it's only going to last for whatever period of time you're in a courtroom, you generally, this is your worst nightmare if you're the defense lawyer. And you, Ashleigh, you said you have two boys, so you understand it. I mean, you make all the arguments about the boys develop later and blah, blah, blah. But in a case like this, I identify more with the senior who's a cyclist because I'm out on the street, and that's part of the social contract is you expect that people aren't going to ram you with your car when you're out on the street every morning.
Mark, I know that you haven't spent time behind bars, but I know that a lot of your clients have, and typically they are adult clients, and adult jail is a very frightening place with very dangerous, frightening people, both on the outside and on the inside. These are kids who will very likely spend possibly 70 years. I mean, a life sentence when you're 16 years old is 70 plus years. I wonder if it's sinking in for them. Is their attorney telling them this? How are they treated by other inmates? How are they even housed?
Well, in most jurisdictions, I don't know about this particular jurisdiction, even if you are a juvenile at the time, they and tried in adult court, they will still house you in a juvenile facility. Other jurisdictions, they will have a juvenile wing in the adult facility. Are their lawyers talking to them? Yes, I guarantee you the lawyers are talking to them, trying to counsel them, trying to advise them that this does them no good to be in there in a courtroom smiling or laughing or doing anything of that sort. I mean, it's an awful situation. It's very hard to believe that they understand the magnitude of what they've done or what the mess that they're in. And unfortunately, things like this are going to be used against them. It's also going to, remember, it's not just the judge. The prosecutor really holds the key in these kinds of cases. The prosecutor gets to decide where are they charged. The prosecutor gets to decide.
Mark, I just want to point that out. The video that we're watching right now, as they walked out of court, they looked over to their right, and that was the grin they gave to the family. They knew full well who they were grinning at. It wasn't an accident. There was nobody in front of the family we could misconstrue. Here they are. They're walking down, and they're crossing the courtroom in front of that court officer. They look to the right, and they grin at the victims, the wife of Andy Probst and the daughter of Andy Probst, who lost their dad and their husband. So my question for you is, does the judge understand that they don't understand the magnitude of what they've done? And does the judge take into account the youth and the fact that they don't understand when perhaps dealing with sentencing guidelines? Or does the judge see all of this, make a note, and say, this is going into the case? This behavior in court, no matter how young they are, goes into the case?
Well, that's what I was leading up to. I mean, the judge may or may not, and may or may not have seen that. But if, in fact, this was directed towards the victim's family, you're going to have the victim's family immediately talk to the prosecutor. The prosecutor is then going to bring that to the judge's attention. The prosecutor is then going to make decisions based upon what they perceive as remorse, not lack of remorse, the approach they take to the case. That's your biggest problem right now, frankly, is not the judge. Their biggest problem right now is the prosecution.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.